My husband is cheating on me with my school bully. I just can't believe that he could fool me. His affair started 6 months ago. I could trace it 6 months back anyway. It could have been longer. There were no signs, no indications, no change of behavior, no change in the bedroom. I just found out by accident 3 weeks ago when his phone was on the nightstand. My husband was sleeping with my high school bully. I grew up in a small town and this woman bullied me severely in middle and high school. After graduation, I did everything to find a job in a bigger city and moved, leaving all the hurtful memories. I worked hard for a year, found an apartment, bought a car, and later started college. That's where I met my husband. We got married 2 years ago. I'm 8 weeks pregnant. He doesn't know yet. I will tell him eventually, don't worry. When I was in college, my bully reached out to me after we bumped into each other in a party. She was new in town and was glad she saw a familiar face. She never acknowledged what she did, and I never confronted her. I didn't want to open old wounds, however, I wasn't going to befriend her, so I just rebuffed any attempt of reconnecting. She still moved in the same crowd as my husband and me. I never told my husband anything about her or our past. I wasn't even sure he knew her by name. 3 weeks ago, when my husband was in the shower, he got a notification on Messenger. I thought it was odd since he's not been active on Facebook or Messenger in ages. We know each other's codes, so I looked and there was her name and pictures telling him she missed his doc. I scrolled a few messages back and there was a full conversation. I felt sick and my eyes went blurry, so I just left the phone back where it was and acted like nothing. Over the next 2 weeks, I looked in his phone whenever I could. I found out that my husband deleted Messenger when he didn't use it, except for the time he forgot. I started doing the same. Whenever he's sleeping, playing games, or out for a run, I took his phone and installed Messenger. I could trace back their relationship 6 months. They've been sleeping together for 4. A lot of graphic description of what they want to do or have done to each other, but also a lot about me, although it was often one-sided. It's always my bully asking questions and trying to get answers about me, and my husband either reluctantly answering or outright telling her not to talk about me. But they've discussed my sex life, and apparently, I'm vanilla. To her constant questions about if he preferred me better, he answered that it's different and he doesn't want to compare. Discussions about me often ended in him getting irritated and stop answering for days. I have never cried my whole life combined compared to these last few weeks. I want to leave my husband, but I don't want to tell him why. I don't want to give him or my bully the satisfaction of knowing that they hurt me. I just want to ask for divorce and just tell him that I wasn't in love with him anymore and that I'm not happy in our marriage. It won't be lying technically, because he's not the man I loved and I'm not happy in our marriage. I haven't told anyone what I've found out, but I've told my mom that I want to leave my husband and stated the reasons above. She went berserk. This is so out of the blue and moronic, and the first question she asked was whether I was cheating on him or not. This was a preview to what probably everyone else will think and say, but honestly, I would rather live with being the perpetrator than the victim this time. I just can't let that bee hurt me again, watch me suffer and enjoy it. I just can't. I know I'm being irrational right now, but please put yourself in my shoes and tell me what you would do in my stead. Hi again. Many said I needed a lawyer. I don't know about that. We don't have assets more than a joint account for monthly expenses and a joint saving account where both of us can do whatever withdrawals. I have already transferred my contribution to my private account. I'm not trying to protect my husband's and his AP or their reputation. I just don't want to give them, her, the satisfaction of knowing how much they've hurt me. I have read all of your comments, and the majority thinks I have the wrong approach. I have decided to follow my guts. About terminating my pregnancy. I'm pro-choice, of course, and I've chosen my baby even before I knew I was pregnant. I can't get rid of it only because I don't want to be with its father anymore. Me and my brothers are children to divorced parents and we turned out decent enough. About my bully being the stepmom. The chance is slim and not good enough to convince me to get rid of my baby. I already love it more than anything in the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. I have broken the news to my husband that I'm leaving him. I had already talked to my friends about it, and being unhappy in my marriage seemed good enough reason for them to support me. One of them offered me her place until I find my own. I got really emotional and hugged her and cried because that meant that I could leave my husband's apartment now. He was shocked when I told him. I don't think he took me seriously at first, but he asked me if he did something wrong. I told him that I'm simply not happy with him, and I think I'm still too young to waste my life in an unhappy marriage. He said he had noticed me being distant this past month, but never would he have guessed I was unhappy with him. He begged me to tell him what's wrong because this can't be it. He believed me, however, when my friend came to take me with her. This was Thursday. He has been calling multiple times a day. but I haven't answered. He showed up this morning to my friend's house and begged me to have breakfast with him. I agreed. He looked like he hasn't slept or shaved since I asked for divorce. I told him that I was pregnant, and that I'm keeping it. But he didn't have to be a part of its life if he didn't want to. His phone was on the table, and he got a notification from Messenger. So he had forgotten to delete the app before meeting me. When I saw her name, I told him, "Oh, is that her name? You know she used to bully me in school back when we both lived in town?" He froze. "Oh, haven't I told you about her?" I told him everything she did and how it affected me. How she never apologized about anything. He was silent the whole time and just looked at me. I ended it with "Be careful with her." I don't think she's changed much, to tell you the truth. He grabbed my arm and just watched my face like he wanted to see if I knew something. My plan is to buy a small apartment because that's all I can afford right now. A one-bedroom is enough until I have my baby and it's old enough to need its own room. I can upgrade later when I've saved more. I'm not leaving the city. I've spent my best years here and have the greatest memories. I have my friends around me and hopefully they will still be supporting me when the divorce is a fact. I have already filed for divorce, but he's probably going to ask for thinking period. I'm not in a hurry though, everything will get better. For now, I want to cry, try to get over him and heal and be there for my baby. Comment. A lot of cheaters actually like the affair confrontation in a twisted way. It's the culmination of all the sneaking around and a burst of adrenaline and emotions. It's the conclusion to an explosive and reactive betrayal. Good for OP in denying him that. My husband told someone he was out with his little sister. He doesn't have one. I've been married to my husband for a long time. We have kids, a house, and pets together. We have an active sex life. We go on dates often and share a lot of the same hobbies. Today, he's at a pool party with our oldest son. I took our youngest to the water park in town where I ran into one of the other moms I know. We started talking and she mentioned at one point that it had been so nice to meet my husband's younger sister last week and asked if she was my sister or his. I replied that neither one of us has a sister and asked her what the woman looked like. She said she was young and petite with dark hair. I only have a much younger brother with red hair, and he has a brother who is over 6 feet. So neither one of us has a sibling who could be confused for a sister. He doesn't have any cousins, and I do, but he's not close with any of them. I'm freaking out because obviously the first thing my mind goes to is he's cheating. I remember him going to the park last week, and he never made any mention of meeting up with anyone or hanging out with anyone there. My youngest son isn't old enough to tell me. I can't get through to him because his phone isn't on him since they're in the pool. So now I'm just here freaking out because my mind is going wild. Update. When he got home with our son, I simply said, "Trish said she ran into you at the park. She said you were with someone you introduced as your sister. Who was it?" I knew something was up because he was just silent, and he didn't say anything. Then he just said, "Okay, we need to talk. Do you want to do this now or later?" Obviously, I said now, so he told the boys to go play downstairs. He admitted he had been planning on leaving me for a while, but he had wanted to wait for the right time to do it. He said he had met someone else he had feelings for. He had met her last year. And things happened slowly. He said he never cheated on me physically, but there were a lot of times he told me he was doing work when he was really texting her or going into his office to FaceTime her, and they would sometimes meet up. I asked him why he felt okay bringing our son around this person, and he said it was because our son already knew her, which is when I found out that his little sister and person he's leaving me for is our son's daycare teacher. My husband is the one who drops off every morning, so I guess that's how they met. I should have guessed something was up when he began volunteering to go pick him up as well. He seemed apologetic and kept repeating that he never did anything physical and that he wanted to remain civil for the kids. I still haven't fully processed any of this. He's living in the basement apartment until we get things figured out. OP has said in the comments there's a 13-year age difference between him and the preschool teacher. He said she was his sister because the other mom saw them hugging and he needed to think of an excuse. Comment. Trish knew exactly what she was doing. Go Trish. We have come to the end of our story. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. Tell us what you think about this story in the comments.